Bienvenido al podcast de la esquina final de Fórmula 1 Gran Premio de la Cuartidad de Mexico 2021.
Hola.
Hola.
That was unexpected, but very good.
Well done.
I murdered half of that, but I thought it's been a while since we've tried to go back to the native languages. So,
What did you actually say there?
welcome to the Final Corner podcast for the Formula 1 Grand Prix of Mexico City.
Wow, I'm impressed. Very well done.
Apologies to any Spanish-speaking people who may download this.
And English-speaking people.
Yeah, anyone who listens, I apologise. So yeah, Mexico City back on the calendar for the first time in 2 years. Excited? Not excited?
Was excited for the start.
Yeah.
Like pre-race, that is.
Sharp turn one after a long straight, so... I mean, it did deliver in that respect. Has there ever been an amazing race here? I'm not sure.
No. It's a funny track, isn't it? It's really narrow in places, but then got that massive long straight.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be the easiest track of the year to overtake on. You only needed a 1 second speed advantage to get over, but do you think that was the shortest?
Yeah, no one told Valtteri.
No. But I think we should be more positive this week. Let's try and be positive about the race.
Oh,
and
okay.
not just doom and gloom. So, qualifying straight away.
Yeah.
Red Bull screwing over the hometown boy a bit by swapping out his rear wing for Max's broken rear wing. After FP3, apparently they had cracks in the rear wing and they were basically gaffer taping and super gluing the rear wing back together.
I saw that. I didn't realise they'd swapped them over.
Yeah, so after FP3 they swapped Max's broken wing for Sergio's good one and gave Perez the broken one. But to be fair, you can't really blame them,
No.
given the title circumstances. That is a bit of a shame for the hometown boy.
I mean, he still qualified P4, which is what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody in the stadium wanted him to be on pole. But we don't know. We'll never know if that was a big performance factor. Although it must be, otherwise they wouldn't switch it, right?
Yeah. But yeah, he says it impacted him a lot, but it was only just over a tenth of Verstappen in the end. It was P3. Probably the big exciting bit was that Lance Stroll crashed immediately in Q1.
Yeah, straight away.
Yeah, he did a Valtteri Bottas, but they moved the barrier.
Yeah.
So he hit it slightly differently. It was just a bit strange. He was just slightly offline, and I don't get why it was so slippy.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's dusty, but it just seems much more exaggerated somehow, didn't it?
It was weird all weekend, though, right?
Well, yeah.
I don't know if he's counting down to next season or what, but pretty lackluster, unfortunately. Some weird moves in the race as well, and that was slightly weird.
But I believe he said that he tried to keep it nailed out the final corner because he knew the finish line was there. He thought if he could just get to the finish line, he'd set a time or something along those lines.
Crash after it.
Yeah. It's not the way to approach it in Q1.
No, I'm sure his engineers would have been happy to hear that. I was trying to crash immediately after the finish line.
Yeah, it's Q1. In that car, you don't need that much of a risk, I don't think.
No.
No. Alfa Romeo were going pretty well. Raikkonen and Giovinazzi both got through to Q2, but Antonio almost binned it in the middle of Q2.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Another kind of strange crash. He just lost a rear mate side he was in the barrier.
It was like he hit the handbrake or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a brake bias thing, but do you know he got it out of the wall? But did he set another lap time, or was that it?
I think that was it.
Right.
He came back into the pits.
Yeah.
I don't think he went back out.
Right.
Yeah, I
That's a
don't
shame.
remember seeing him come out again.
I would say that Alonso being knocked out of Q1 was a shocker. That was not a good performance from him. And Ocon was only just ahead of him, so...
Yeah, seems to be the car as well, doesn't it? Doesn't seem to work. Or it could be the engine. They are the only team running that engine.
Yep, it's a very good point. And they're at a high altitude here, so it could be a factor.
Yeah, because that was supposed to be a big fight for Mercedes, but they seem to have found a trick to get around it. It was bad for Alpine as well, because Ocon was the one that got through, but he was the one with the penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was supposed to be towing Fernando around, and it just...
Didn't work.
No, disaster.
Yep.
probably the only other kind of surprise was Tsunoda got through again.
Yep.
But then Norris was only 10th because I think he had a penalty, so he was just trying to tow.
Yeah.
I was genuinely surprised through the weekend with the lack of pace that McLaren had.
It wasn't indicative of a team that's going to finish third in the constructors, I don't think.
No.
It was a bit, but it could be just be this track, it could be these conditions. However, they have got the Merc engine, so I don't know what's going on there.
No, I didn't feel like they got on top of it at any point the weekend.
No. I mean,
especially in the race.
Suppose, well, we'll come on to it. Ricardo's race was spoiled at the start, and so I qualified in 7th there, not too far behind Sainz. It could have been different. And he was right up alongside, like, was it Perez into turn 1? So I suppose part of the performance was masked by that. But yeah, Norris
That's very true.
didn't exactly carve through the field, I didn't think, in the race either.
No, nobody did.
Well, that's true, yeah.
It was kind of static.
Yeah. The huge thing for me was the whole mess up of the Red Bull missed the opportunity to get pole, I felt. Don't know if you agree with that, because after qualifying it felt like, oh, hang on a minute, it's the first Mercedes lockout all year at the front row. So actually we were talking last week about, the Honda's going to be good at altitude and the track suits the Red Bull car. And then here we are in qualifying, Mercedes smashing it. It turns out Red Bull did have the pace, they just didn't get the qualifying right. And there was this whole shenanigans with Tsunoda going off, Perez going off, Verstappen calling them an idiot. And social media latched onto that. It was very brutal out there, I thought. But I don't think Tsunoda did anything wrong.
No, I was going to ask, do you think Tsunoda did the right thing? He was trying to get out of the way of Perez who was coming up and went off track. Should he anticipated he'd kick up dust, or should there have been some sort of radio to Perez to say he'll get out your way? I mean,
there's a radio message to Tsunoda that says they're 4 seconds behind, and as soon as he gets it, he pulls off. So what else can he do? If he doesn't pull off, he's going to block him on the track, in my opinion. And Perez made a mistake, and it was disguised by, Tsunoda was in the way. I was distracted. That's my opinion.
Yeah, there should have been better communication from the team, because they may have told him they're 4 seconds behind, but why didn't they tell him that they were approaching a couple of corners before that when he could have just let them through?
Oh, well, that's a good point, yeah.
From Red Bull's perspective, they probably would have been quite okay with him blocking Perez as long as he didn't block Max. It was coming another few seconds behind.
Did they block Max? Did they? Or was it a psychological thing?
No, I think Max just saw the dust and cars off and reacted.
But he also locked up at the hairpin as well, right? In the stadium and missed the apex there. That can't helped.
No.
To me, it was almost a psychological thing that then messed him up with a few corners later. Although I'm sure I don't have the microsectors to validate that's what's happened. But certainly the end of his lap won't have helped the time.
No. Plus, another pole position for Valtteri.
Yeah.
All those engine penalties are paying off, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But
good performance from Valtteri at the end of the day in qualifying.
Yeah, where's this pace been all year?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it at all.
Maybe pace is not the issue anyway, as we'll come to later.
No, it never has been, I don't think.
Oh, no. Do you want to go straight into the race?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, start, I thought this would been as long as both Mercedes got away well,
yeah,
they would have been fine into turn 1 and it would have made it an interesting race, because I didn't think that, as you said, the Red Bull showed their true pace. So, but pre-race I was thinking this will be exciting, having Max and Perez actually fighting with the two Mercedes. But then the curse of Valtteri Bottas's driving skills, defensive skills, came back. So they all get a pretty equal getaway. Lewis is alongside Valtteri, and initially they're covering off the track fine. If you kind of split the track into 4 lanes, Valtteri was covering lane 1 and 2 and Hamilton was covering 3 and 4 quite well. Then all of a sudden Valtteri edges over to try and defend against Hamilton, and that just opens up like lane 1 for Max to come steaming round the outside, like the racing line, and take the lead into turn 1.
It's the non-dusty route.
Yeah, which is just utter madness if you're trying to help your teammate win the championship, which I'm starting to doubt if he actually is, to be honest.
Bit of conspiracy theory.
Yeah, Well, I think he'll follow team orders, but at the start of the race, you've got to see where you end up. But yeah, if he's told later on to move aside for him, he'll do that. But yeah, that was very poor placement.
I do agree with you that I think the race would have been better, or more exciting, shall we say, for the lead if Mercedes held on to the lead at the start.
Yeah,
nothing to do with wanting the Mercedes to lead or anything. I just think for the good of the sport, it would have been interesting. And to me, it's not just Valtteri opening up that lane. Of course, he's on the dusty line, but imagine if he just sort of outbraked himself accidentally. That he would still be able to sort of defend, and they would have been able to shortcut across the grass or something like this, because you can cut across the grass as Perez did without having to do the bollard thing on lap 1, as we all know from Alonso, right? I don't know. I feel like if I was Toto Wolff, I would have briefed that in. Right, if Max is on the outside, you outbrake yourself and you both go off and carry on from there. But that didn't happen anyway.
Well, both Lewis and Toto were publicly critical of him after the race. That basically he didn't do his job. Because it was quite an easy defence for Mercedes, because they've both got a good start. Just need to hover off middle of the two lanes, basically, and they can't get past. Valtteri just didn't do his job.
Yeah, not ideal. And then he got spun around by Ricciardo.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where the shenanigans started. The chaos, the carnage.
I would have liked to have seen a penalty for Ricciardo there. Is that controversial to say that?
No, I agree.
Only because, if you think back to Gasly getting 5 seconds for Alonso at Turkey, that was so tiny and marginal. And this, at first I thought, oh, well, it does look like Bottas has sort of changed direction at the last minute, and what can you do? But Ricciardo should know of his experience. He's on the far right, dirtiest side of the track. And he under-rotates, he locks up, and then makes contact. So, all right. I mean, the penalty, I suppose, was he's lost his wings, so his race is ruined, right? So in that respect, it's common sense. It's just based on the previous penalties in the year, it just felt a bit weird.
I would say it's common sense, because Valtteri then spent the next 50 laps stuck behind him.
Yeah.
So, he ruined his race twice, essentially.
Yeah.
I agree. I thought that was worthy of a penalty. That was pretty poor from Daniel.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
It just didn't help, did it? The whole thing, because ruined his race. I assume he had damage on the car as well after that. I know obviously the front wing was taken off, but I think the car itself was damaged.
Yeah, well, further round the first lap when he's got no front wing, George Russell slams in the side of him.
Oh, yes. I forgot.
Yeah, so that I think might have... Maybe they replaced the front wing, but to speculate, the barge boards or the side aero will surely have taken something from that. I think there's Russell on his right, and is it Raikkonen on the outside? They both make... There's all contact with all of them, so the alignment could be out all sorts.
Yeah.
There was another incident just after turn 1 then with, I think it was Ocon getting sandwiched by Tsunoda and Schumacher. Tsunoda does the outside line at turn 1, but then just kind of drives, it's like he's driving on the white line towards the corridor, and it's like just terrible placement for Ocon, because he's got two cars at his side who are trying to make the apex, neither of them are ever going to make the apex where they are, but both attempt to get there.
I think Mick's more trying to avoid the Bottas on the right. When you watch the Ocon on board, you think, what the heck is Mick doing? But then you realise when you watch the Bottas on board where he's facing the wrong way, oh, right, there's a cloud of smoke and Mick's just trying to avoid it. So just the whole thing's just very unlucky for all the drivers, I felt there.
Yeah.
I thought Tsunoda should have bailed when I seen the onboard.
Right.
But it's a split-second decision he's made to go for the corner or go for the grass.
Right.
If you slow it down and look it back, it should go for the grass, and he's still in the race and doesn't cause a crash. But I don't know if he even knows that Bottas is spun, and that's why everyone's...
Yeah, he might not be able to see it, right?
Moving.
Yeah.
So, yeah, probably a bit unlucky. I don't think anyone got reprimanded or anything for it.
Nah, nothing.
No, I don't think so.
Good.
I did think at first it's that Ocon managed to take two people out of the race at the same time, but it was not his fault at all.
He was lucky to continue, I felt.
Yeah.
Two big impacts. Seems like if you contact just the wheel, you can be okay. Lucky to have a front wing and stuff.
That's why I don't get it. He got two massive quotes from our side, but who was it earlier in the year who got the tiniest little tap on the front right wheel? I've got Hungary or something in my head. Someone got the tiniest little tap and it completely shattered the suspension. Broke the steering arms and everything.
Oh, I can't remember that.
For some reason, I'm thinking Ferrari, but I
Oh,
remember the incident, but I can't think of the car.
Yeah. But then Ocon takes these massive quotes and nothing happens. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get how the steering arms or suspension break sometimes.
it's not the same incident, but also the Alpha Tauri's front wing is so fragile. I mean, they might have changed it, but remember when they were going over curbs at some in free practices or qualifying, and they were just like it was just falling off. Might have been Russia actually, Gasly. Yeah, Ocon's also lucky to have his front wing in place, I felt.
There was a great start for, I think, Giovinazzi, who got up to 6.
Yes, I was hoping you'd mentioned that.
Yeah. And then he wasn't too happy with his team, who I'm guessing from the radio messages aren't keeping him next year.
Oh, he deserves it though.
Yeah.
Well, he pitted before everyone else, and it just dropped him out the points.
Well, also, it wasn't just the pitting early, it was the fact that when he rejoined, he was in traffic.
Yeah.
It's like, so you can't even do the undercut.
No.
So it's poor timing. And so he said at the post-race interview, we pitted too early and we came out in traffic, not a good strategy.
I think he said on the radio at the end of the race, thanks for that strategy.
Did he?
So,
Yeah.
I think, read into that what you will, but I think they said they're going to make the announcement after Brazil, but I'm reading between the lines here. It's probably not going to be Giovinazzi.
So it follows on from what Tom was talking about last week, and just how Alpha seemed to be mismanaging a lot.
Every
of things.
race, they do something wrong, obviously. But that's... on the flip side, they did Raikkonen very well this race, on a positive note. But it just seems like they trip over each other too much. I don't want to be too much negativity towards them. I couldn't do it. I could not be the chief strategist or whatever it is. But this was definitely a misstep with the benefit of hindsight. But not even benefit of hindsight. During the race, you could see it. Yeah. Although in that scenario, then they're shafted. They can't do anything about it. Right? So.
Yeah. But what Alfa Romeo have said is that they thought once Bottas and Ricciardo got past Stroll, they'd fly away from him. But once they got past, they were stuck in a train. They didn't actually go any further forward. Right. But again, that's a big thing to depend on.
Yeah.
Why not just drop them? Why not go an extra lap and drop them into 3 year?
Yeah, it was a weird one.
Strange.
It was a weird one.
Yeah. Then there was kind of strange incidents. I think Ocon and Stroll, were side by side after. I can't remember if it was Ricciardo had got past or if it was Norris in front. I think it might have been Ricciardo got past.
Yeah.
But there's a strange one, I think it's down into turn 4, where Ocon just outbreaks himself and has to go across the grass to avoid him.
Oh, Stroll.
I think it's to avoid... Yeah, Stroll, yeah. I think he has to go across the grass to avoid the back of Norris. And when he rejoins, he's in front of Ricciardo. He pushes Bottas off, Ricciardo gets past him. They go side by side towards the S's. Neither of them make the corner.
Yeah.
And the only thing we've seen during the race was a slow-mo of them both sliding, but we've never seen what had happened.
Yeah.
So the post-race replays, I think in the show, they were side by side for there. Neither of them made the corner, but then Stroll kept the place.
Yeah, it's weird how they kept the place.
So.
Yeah, because they're both off the track, so it's not like he's... it's a weird one. It is a weird one. Stroll was just bizarre in that whole manoeuvre, though. First, when he goes off turn 4, I can't tell if everyone's braked really early or he's just forgotten to brake for that. It's a weird one. Very strange.
Yeah, it's like the sort of manoeuvre I do when I can't see where I'm going in a racing game. You think the corner's like 100 metres further along, but he should be better than that.
Yeah, he should, yeah.
I think he's checked out for the year. Like you said earlier.
Yeah.
His form has been awful.
He doesn't care because he knows he's got the drive guaranteed. There's nothing to fight for in the points, so therefore he's just ticking the boxes, right? Even if he's not and he's fully, it just there's something in his head clearly that's doing that, and it feels that way, doesn't it? So
it does seem to correspond with his new race engineer as well. Actually, I don't know if there's something to that
that's
or
a good
not.
point. Yeah, bring back the sass.
Bring back Brad.
Yeah.
Speaking of racing here, did you see Haas having a go with Mazepin?
No.
Yeah.
For a team that's driving about at the back, there's all sorts of drama going on down there. Mazepin and his engineer or the race strategist was having a go at each other during qualifying. And then after the race, Mazepin was talking to media about how basically Schumacher gets special treatment and all this. And it's like, oh my god, you sit at the back. Like, have all this drama when you're fighting for something, but you're at the back. Like, just calm down.
Well, I missed all that mercifully.
No, not much else happened apart from that. There was a couple of good moves on George Russell by Alonso.
Oh, by the whole field.
Oh yeah,
yeah, one after the other.
That was
George went backwards immediately. He got a good start and then just had no pace whatsoever.
Weird that. Clearly got qualifying pace, but really the both the Williams were dreadfully slow during the race. Like the Tifi was nowhere, and Russell just got overtaken. I mean, that was one of the. It was interesting to watch. Kimi did a lovely move around the outside. Alonso did a nice move, but I don't think George really fought it that hard.
No. He was having a nice scrap with Kimi for a couple of laps before that, and then as soon as Kimi got past, that was it. Everyone.
Yeah, nice drive from Kimi, but unfortunate for whatever reason the Williams didn't work at this venue.
No, but at least it closes up that fight if there is a fight for second last in the championship.
Yeah,
third last. Sorry.
I mean, it's still got they've got a good gap though, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
it's possible now that something could change.
Telling you, Raikkonen won in Saudi Arabia.
I was thinking about that.
Written in the stars. Well, the only thing I found interesting about the race was Valtteri Bottas's attempt to get the fastest lap, which was just bizarre.
It was complicated to keep track of, wasn't it?
There was some gamesmanship going on.
Yeah,
I think so.
Do you want to talk us through it?
Well, it was when he came out. He came out behind Max, and when he started closing in on Max during his fast lap, Max accidentally made a mistake, which meant that when Bottas got up to him, he was held up, and then Verstappen then started going slower. Bottas unlapped himself, and then Verstappen sped up so as he got blue flags.
Yep.
So he then had to pit again.
But because he can pit again, the whole thing was worthless.
It was, but there was also the chance that he forced him to abort essentially one run at it, and if there'd been a yellow flag somewhere or something like that on the last lap, he couldn't have had it. So it was quite clever.
I did like Bottas when he done his second soft tire stop, is he let Russell pass so he could get the DRS down the main straight, and then overtook him again down at turn one, so he had the DRS.
Didn't see that. Clever.
I wonder what happened there.
Yeah, so that was on the last lap he done that. So let him through towards the stadium, like basically parked the car and waited for him, and then got the DRS. So I wonder if there's a radio call down the pit lane.
Oh, I'd love to hear that.
Please don't fight this when Valtteri tries to overtake you again.
Cause I did notice that on the position tree that Bottas had dropped behind Russell, and I thought, oh, he's screwed his last lap now. I didn't realise it was deliberate.
Yeah. So I thought, at least it gave something interesting in the race, because as soon as Max got in front and then nailed the safety car restart, it was just race over.
Yeah.
Fair play to that.
Perez kind of closed in on Hamilton, but I didn't really feel like he was ever going to get him.
No, the AWS thing again was annoying me. Because did you notice it came up and it said 18 laps before striking distance, and then while it was still on screen, it changed to 13 laps.
Wow, 5 lap difference.
Yeah, it didn't even disappear from the screen. It changed the number, and I just wish they wouldn't bother with it, because with traffic and everything else, you can't make these predictions.
I'm with you, but it's paid for.
Yes.
I do think it kind of takes away from the just watching
not
the
knowing.
race as well.
Yeah,
the kind of not knowing and being hyped up and things like that. It's excitement where you just see a graphic that says, in 5 laps he'll be passed. It's just kind of...
You've got time to make a cuppa.
Yeah. But it is the same sort of that. It's like, don't bother watching for the next 15 minutes.
That's a good point. I thought the battle was fascinating to a point, and then on lap 62, Perez got DRS and then couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And it fizzled out. And apparently it's to do with the altitude, the cars overheat when they get close by, which fair enough. But then it was back on the pulled nuts but lap, and there was a half a chance again, wasn't there?
Was it when Bottas was following Ricciardo earlier on in the race? He would not stay in the slipstream at all.
Yeah.
No.
And I always thought, just stay in the slipstream for 1 or 2 laps maybe, and then try and overtake, and then deal with the overheating afterwards. But clearly there was something.
Yeah, because I was going to dive in on Bottas again for trying to struggle to overtake Ricciardo. There was definitely 2 occasions where I felt the racecraft was a bit iffy, but yes, the overheating was clearly a factor. You couldn't get the full slipstream effect quite as you'd wish, I think.
Yeah.
There was one where he had Ricciardo right on the inside of turn 1.
He just backed out.
He was going round the outside, so the racing line. And if he just kept his foot in, he'd have probably got him. But he backed
Raikkonen and
out.
Alonso were in similar positions on Russell and went round the outside. I know it's different cars, different drivers. But he just sort of tried to get a cut back, but you can't really get that. Or maybe he was thinking about the second DRS zone, but it didn't work out. He also tried to show the nose on around turn 4 into turn 5. I do like that move. I thought it was good thinking, but he wasn't close enough for it to work in that scenario, unfortunately. Because it could be a nice little move, because you overrun turn 4 and you just nip him into turn 5. It's a bit too tight.
Yeah, but it gives him the possibility of scaring Ricciardo out the way, possibly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Good point.
Racecraft is definitely an issue for Bottas, especially defence. When you say especially defence, how many times has he been stuck at the back and not come through?
Yes.
I think there was one race this year, was it Italy? Someone where he qualified on pole, but ended up starting at the back and still came through.
Yeah.
I think maybe in Italy.
Yeah.
But every other time he's at the back, it just doesn't go anywhere. So there's a definite aggression issue.
Yeah, he's too polite. But he did get fastest lap at the end, and that was a job for Mercedes. Speaking of which, just going back on that quickly, did you hear the Christian Horner radio message to Max at the end of the race?
Yes.
That was amazing. That was the highlight of the whole fastest lap drama, I felt.
Yeah.
Very awkward. You've got fastest lap as well, Max. Brilliant. Sorry, Max. No, you don't. You don't have fastest lap. Sorry about that. But
I seen there was a lot of debate after the race about whether the fastest lap should count if you're outside the top 10, but it should. It makes it. Without that, this would have been the dullest race ever. So
Yeah.
what were you saying about being positive?
I'm trying.
Well,
it was so dreamy.
one huge positive was Max Verstappen absolutely smashing it, right? Perfect textbook drive. To have the brain capacity to play around with Bottas as well and not let it spin you off Stroll style into the barrier is very impressive. I do feel there was a mess up in qualifying, but regardless. He also had, we're saying Bottas positioned the car wrong in turn 1, but Max had the foresight and the guts to brake late on cold tyres and stuff. Oh, speaking of which, on the warm-up lap, Mercedes were having a go at the FA, right, for the slow, getting to the grid slowly?
Oh, yeah.
And it did feel like an inordinate amount of time. But I don't know, it can't be a deliberate thing, right? Because what's in the interest of Alfa Romeo to have cold tyres of the people in front? But it just felt a bit weird.
Yeah. No, fair play to Max. He dominated. If you think, even with all that shenanigans with Bottas, where apparently he slowed down about 3 seconds in one lap, he still finished 17 seconds ahead of Hamilton. Yeah. It's just ridiculous pace.
Yeah, he was faultless, pretty much.
Yeah. Peerless drive. And worthy of a champion, dare I say it. I still thought up until this race Lewis would do it. It's you just don't know how each track suits each car and stuff. 19 points is not over, but it's getting there. Because Lewis could probably win every race now, and Max just finishes second. Would that be enough, do you think?
No, it'd be after Brazil. If Max wins in Brazil, then you're right. Okay. If Hamilton wins every race, he's still.
It's when it gets to that point, then it can be managed, right?
Yeah.
So,
but Brazil is also the sprint race.
Yeah.
Which could throw things up as well.
Of course.
Good.
Out today. Yeah, it's. I thought it was over about 12 races ago, but that was a bit premature.
Yeah, well, you might be right. Yeah, I'm trying to be optimistic.
But I hope it goes to the end.
Yeah, same.
'Cause you can after the past few races, I think he's extended his lead every time. It's starting to get to the point where it's going to fizzle out.
One of only a few drivers to win 9 races in a season, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I think there's Rosberg, Hamilton, Michael Schumacher, Nigel Mansell, and maybe Max Verstappen. Apologies for getting that stat slightly wrong. There might be one more driver, but yeah, he's one of only a handful now. So, and they all became champions. Did the other ones that we mentioned? So, there's an omen. It's got to the point now where if he didn't, it would kind of feel like he was robbed a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's getting to the point where Hamilton's just desperate for a DNF.
Yeah.
It needs a DNF.
On the back foot.
And to be honest, yeah, the Red Bulls look bulletproof this year, so it's not looking like it's going to come.
Yeah. Although, who actually won the race again?
Verstappen.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure it wasn't Kygo International DJ? Did you see that?
No, was it Kygo that was on the podium?
No, but it was on the podium. He did the DJ after the podium. But as Max crossed the line, on the on-screen graphic didn't say Max Verstappen. It said Kygo International DJ.
I did not see that. Speaking of
dear.
which, though, the podium at Mexico is awesome.
Oh yeah, and the fans, weren't they up for it? Wasn't it incredible?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, the way the car comes up.
Amazing.
I love that.
And Max was just sat there with a big grin on. I thought, well, yeah, fair play.
Yeah.
You would, wouldn't you?
I'm sure the engineers hate it because they got covered in all the
yeah,
bits
of
and
course.
all the champagne, but it just looks really nice to see that.
One thing I would slightly say, and I'm going to sound like a really boring old fart, but they obviously park.
Again.
Is it in turn 13 on the exit, on the wonderful painted like runoff area? Cars are still going around the track, but there's people stood on the track directing the other cars into position, and they're not fully. 2 and 3 are got the back still on the track. I know they're going slowly, but I just felt, maybe I've been a bit too overly cautious with the health and safety there. Of course, in MotoGP you can do play golf as we saw earlier this year, but it's just felt weird with the F1 being as very rightly safety conscious as it is. That we've got people on the track waving, going, you park here, you park there. Normally, you go down the pit lane, don't you, into an area, and it's really, really slow. But still, I don't mind because it's an amazing way of doing it.
Yeah.
Just a spectacular atmosphere. How the track goes through that stadium, and the Mexican fans, they are rightly giving the race some atmosphere. It's rare to see an F1 race with an atmosphere, really, right? I know, sure, you're there at Silverstone, it's amazing, but you don't often hear the crowd. But every time Perez was on the screen, right, the crowd was insane. His dad was going mental. Did you see that picture of his son, who's also called Sergio Perez, on the podium looking at his dad? I thought that was quite cool.
Yeah.
And a great result for Perez as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
First time ever for a Mexican on podium over a Mexican Grand Prix.
The Mexico GP, it was the Mexico City GP, isn't it, as well?
Oh, is it?
Weirdly.
Ah.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Mexican GP.
Sorry, Mexico City
I didn't
GP.
quite understand.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I do apologise.
Yeah.
Well, every other race is the country, isn't it? Oh, well, we'll have to look into that.
It is, yeah. I didn't understand that, but yeah.
Yeah, very strange. But fair play to Perez, he's come good towards the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Not too long ago, we're slating him for being completely not or useless.
Yeah, we were.
He's now actually doing his job.
When you've got 9 million races in a season, you can get to speed.
Yeah. And shout out to Pierre Gasly.
I was waiting for you to say it. I wasn't going to say it. I thought the number one fan.
He's just done an incredible job because he put it in P5 in qualifying and headed fourth from Bottas's incident, and then he was there on pace because Leclerc ended up finishing about 20 seconds behind him.
Yeah.
Like the Ferraris couldn't get near him.
Outpaced the Ferraris completely, even though Ferrari switched over Sainz and Leclerc's order to try and push on for a bit. It didn't work out, so then they reversed at the end.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at 2 different results sections here have different timings, which is weird. But potentially Gasly was also the last car on the lead lap as well, which is astounding.
Yeah, I thought he was.
According to the F1 website,
Leclerc might be as well, right?
Leclerc was on the lead lap, but according to the graphic that they put out, Leclerc was last.
Yeah. So maybe the website is more up to date afterwards, but
I actually think Leclerc wasn't lapped because he was the last person to finish. I remember seeing it on the side where they have the little checkered flag symbols.
Okay.
Because I was thinking, why hasn't Leclerc finished and everyone else has?
It must have been right close at the end.
Yeah.
All right. Well, either way, Gasly smashed it, and you didn't see him at all in the race.
I was going to say, apparently he did, because I don't know he was there.
It cut during a lull to just Gasly on board, and I thought, oh, well, yeah, I would have done that same if I was the director. Let's just give him a shout-out.
Oh, yeah.
Superb result. I mean, maybe the Honda engine has still got slight altitude advantage-ish, but you don't know that, and you still have to do the job. And I just thought, wow, to smash Ferraris on form when they've qualified well is a really amazing job.
That was a big result for them as well. Yeah. Because Alonso only got 2 points, and it means that Alpine and AlphaTauri now level points.
Oh, that is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Both on 106.
Alonso said, amazing race execution from the team there, and I thought, was it?
Better than the qualifying.
I suppose it's all relative.
Yeah. And I was quite impressed with Gasly after the race, because immediately on the radio after the race, he says, right, that's us level on points. Like, how did you work that out?
Oh, that's mad.
So he's also he must have seen on the screen where Alonso was, because it showed you the video clip on the best onboards or best TV or something. And so he must have seen where Alonso finished on the screen and worked it out. But if I had just been driving around in 30-degree heat for an hour and a half, there's no way I'm doing that math.
That also just shows perhaps how on his own he was.
He's probably working out.
Just a bit of mental arithmetic keeps the brain going. Raikkonen afterwards said, well, not much happened there. I mean, after that one, that was it. I was like, all right, fair enough. Yeah.
Agree, Kimmy, that's how I feel. That's why I turned over to watch the the Milan derby at one point.
Wow. Yeah.
I had three quarters of the race on mute, and in the last quarter I watched again later because it was boring.
Yeah, I mean, Perez was having a little jibe at Hamilton there, but I think it was under control based upon just how difficult it was to overtake in this particular race. Maybe it was temperature related.
Possibly as well. And well done to Perez for not attempting something stupid as well.
Right, I was thinking, here we go. This is a last into the stadium, last lap dive.
Yeah,
but he did have a dive, but it was from like a second back.
Yeah.
So it was nowhere near.
I didn't see Vettel at all during the race either. P7's a good result. Other than, I felt like his rejoin in lap 1 across the grass back to track was borderline dangerous. There wasn't a replay on the broadcast. You had to watch the best of onboards clip on the Formula 1 YouTube channel afterwards. And it's not direct. You don't get the view from the car he comes back across in front of, I don't think. Oh, is it Perez's onboard? You can see him. Yeah, basically, he cuts across from the right on the grass. So on the inside of turn 3, not the outside of turn 3. And he comes back across the track, and I thought, oof, that's sketchy. But anyway, there wasn't contact. I think it was across the front of a Ferrari. Anyway, in the end, it was fine. But anonymous race, but that's actually a solid result for that Aston Martin.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Drivers' Championship, starting for the bottom up, I suppose. It's now 10 points to 1 in favour of Raikkonen, which isn't a good look for Antonio.
No.
Your favourite driver.
Well, strategy ruined once again.
Vettel's now up to 42 points, just behind Ocon. Alonso's still ahead. Gasly's up to 9th. Norris, as we said, has dropped to 5th.
Yep.
Still ahead of Leclerc. Bottas and Perez has closed up a bit, so there's 20 points in it, so there might be a fight for 3rd. And then the lead gap is 9 points now.
Does Bottas still have a chance? Because
no, I think he's out.
Right, he did it at the start of the race, right?
Yeah,
he did apparently. Yeah,
19 points at the top. I think 9.
Oh yeah, 19.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. You're right. At the start of the race, he did have a chance, and then Daniel Ricciardo swiftly ended that. And in the constructors, I guess there's 4 fights still going on, but really only 3. Williams and Alfa Romeo is now down to 12 points, which I'm still struggling to see changing.
Hang on a minute, it might rain in Brazil.
Yeah, if Haas win a race.
Sorry, I forgot about Haas. Mazepin's still buying Kubica.
Oh, that was the update I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
There's the F1's version of Sam Smeltwatch. Where is Mazepin in the standards? He's still last. So, after an Alpina level, the Ferrari's taking advantage in third. They're now 13.5 points ahead of McLaren. And Mercedes now only have a 1 point lead at the top.
I don't really care about the Constructors' Championship normally, but this year I'm riveted by it because there's so much at stake.
Yeah.
Going into a new season with budgetary caps and all sorts going on, and new rules at the same time. It's like, wow, yeah, who's going to finish third? Who's going to finish fifth? Who's going to finish first? And ninth? Amazing.
All of the numbers.
Yeah, who's going to finish first, second, third, fourth, fifth? Yeah.
I think the only one that's kind of set, there's two that's set, is Aston Martin in 7th. Because they're just not going anywhere. And then Haas.
Yeah.
I'll put my money on Haas, and that's going to point. I know there's 5 races left, but I'm putting my money on it.
That's a semi-tempting wager, that is. Not that we gamble responsibly. Bet 365.
18 plus B gamble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what have we got left? Next is Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Brazil.
And then there's a load of Middle Eastern ones.
That's what I'm just trying to remember. Is there 4 or 5 races left?
I feel like it's 4. I'm going to say 4. I'm going to say it with confidence, and then people will just accept it's right. Because it's 4.
It was 5, including Mexico, so yeah, it must be 4.
Yeah, so Brazil next, then Qatar, then Saudi Arabia, which will be finished according to the FIA.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
For then finishing up at the new and improved Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, so actually, after Brazil, I'm not overly excited for those tracks, but thinking about it, I kind of am because you've got 2 new ones and 1 revised one.
Yeah.
Who knows? You never know, right? You never know. Except Lucille's going to be rubbish.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Positivity.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, well, Abu Dhabi might be better. Brazil, looking forward to Brazil always.
Always.
Yeah, missed that last year.
Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of been a Red Bull track the past few years, so...
Who knows?
I think if Max wins, it's over. Yeah. But we'll see. Post-race news?
Yeah.
I feel like you should have little stingers for these, like, news.
Okay, just did it that for each week now, you just said it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to make a little one for Fernando Alonso's FIA sessions, because every week he seemed to have been doing something to challenge the FIA, but he was quite quiet this week. I didn't see him do anything.
Yeah, he just said before the race that it's... what did he say now? It's not petulance, it's to try and better the rules or something. I can't remember now. Oh, no, it's not because he's boredom because there's nothing to fight, which is what we predicted. So he listened to us and counteracted to us.
A lot of people seem to listen to us.
Yeah.
They immediately change their mind. I mean, the listening figures suggest that they don't,
yes.
but I think that they do.
Yeah.
There's been too many coincidences.
Yeah. So, post-race news.
Yeah, so there was a weird story going about. Kevin Magnussen said that he was offered the Williams seat and they were going to drop George Russell for him. Just bizarre.
My question is, how much Carlsberg did he drink before that?
He did say that he would have to come up with a lot of sponsorship money to make it happen.
Okay. So there was
they were going to drop Russell.
There was an option there.
It was pre-takeover as well, wasn't it?
Oh, right. This is not now. This is like...
No, this was when Williams' family was still in control.
Okay, well, I could see that because they were desperate for the cash, right?
Mm-hmm.
And flattering for K-Mag.
Yeah.
Weird one, that. Yeah, weird.
Yeah. Nico Hülkenberg will not be going to IndyCar despite testing in Adams McLaren a couple of weeks ago. He decided for personal reasons he won't be going to IndyCar.
Yeah, it's because he'll be in the Alfa Romeo next year.
He saw the safety standards and went, ooh.
Yeah, that would put you off.
Yeah. Chinese Grand Prix has been extended to 2025. So it's been missing for 2 years.
Is it the same track?
I believe so.
I want him on Macau. Mind you, that's technically not China, is it? Anyway, let's not get into the politics of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's due back on the calendar next year. But it's been extended to 2025. Cool. F1's now brought in the Martin Brundle rule for F1.
Now, has he called it that? Or is it actually called that?
I think he's called
he has.
Yeah, he has. So celebrities are no longer allowed bodyguards on the grid, and they're obliged to give Martin an interview if he comes and asks for it.
Wasn't quite that, was it?
I think it's any journalist that asks for it on the grid, they're kind of supposed to talk to them.
They're encouraged to, is what it says, but if they don't want to, they have to be polite and decline. Not just ignore them or...
Well, in practice, I agree with this, but on paper even. But in practice, we'll see how it works out. Man, I completely messed that sentence up.
Exactly.
Well, Brundle said himself he actually preferred it when people ignored them.
Well, there's some funny stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, it's the whole thing with Serena Williams in the last race as well, was he wanted to interview her just because she kept refusing every time he's tried. So he's just like, nope, I'm going to keep trying.
One day.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest news of all time, really, is Gabriel Tarquini is retired at age 59. Former British Touring Car and World Touring Car Champion.
I can't believe how long he's had a paid career for. So that is ultimate respect for his driving ability and also his ability to wrangle a deal.
Yes.
To be fair to him, he won a World Championship late in his 50s.
Yep.
Which I don't think many other people can claim.
Yeah, so he is the oldest FIA World Champion, I believe. And this year he won a WTCR race, so he's still up there competitive. In fact, just this last weekend he finished 4th in a race in Italy. So to be this age and still be paid by a manufacturer to drive and still win races in this season is just incredible. And so if people are listening for a Formula 1 podcast, they might not be aware who he is. Although he is a former Formula 1 driver, so therefore it's relevant. There we go.
He scored 1 point, I think. And I read that he had the record at 1 point for most failed qualification attempts.
He did. But he was driving for
Osella.
Coloni,
Fond Metal.
Yeah. So no one's ever heard of him. Tyrrell for one season, right, I think?
Yes.
Oh, as a test driver.
He has actually been competitive in everything he's driven, I think.
Yeah. So he was World Touring Car Champion WTCC in 2009.
2009?
Yeah. And WTCR champion in 2018. And, of course, British Touring Car Champion in 1994. So pretty distinguished.
Mm-hmm.
So hats off to him.
Enjoy your retirement.
Yeah. He'll still have a testing gig next year, mark my words. He'll still get... I just wanted him to be paid racing at the top level when he was 60. That would have been cooler, but fair play.
Yeah.
And no idea who would replace him in Hyundai, but there we go. We'll find out.
No. But a genuine legend as well.
Hats off.
And Max Chilton has been confirmed to have left Sicily Motorsport for next year.
I didn't know he drove for them, to be honest.
I
think you said Max.
Oh, did I say Tom?
No, you said Max.
Oh, no, you did say Max. I just tweaked that.
Jeez. Tom Chilton. I'm not going to re-record it. We'll leave the
Just start again. Yeah, it's fine.
I thought Tom's comment actually made more sense about Tom Chilton.
Oh right, I was joking as if because you said Max. I was like, oh really?
Yeah. Oh no, I took it as Tom Chilton.
It works. We never see him.
You're right. Yes. British Touring Car news.
So Tom's away. The statement for the team kind of hinted that they wanted to keep him.
Yeah.
But it was Tom's decision, which I'm not too sure about. But I think he has said this year he wants to go back in the first row drive.
The team wants to keep him. They've got the Chilton family money. And that's very disrespectful, but it's also the truth. So come at me.
At Tom H. Ward on Twitter, so if you want to go for him.
Come on, no podium this season. It's not a good year, is it?
No.
And we wanted him to do well. It's just, that's how it was. Who knows what he'll do next year, though, Tom Chilton, and the team. Because those...
You get the feeling he has a drive lined up.
Yeah, you do, don't you? It's so early on to announce it that you think, right. Mm-hmm. I mean, those cars are very expensive for that team to buy. Obviously, they've got the Car God sponsorship, which is great, and Morgan won a couple of races, so I wish them all the best in finding a replacement driver who wants to take on that BMW.
Yeah, no idea who it would be.
No. Maybe we should do a silly season speculation special podcast over Christmas time.
Yep. A 5-hour spectacular.
The return of Anthony. Catch us all out. I think that'll do all the news. You guys got any more? Oh.
There was only one other thing, wasn't there? They're trying to get rid of sausage curbs at most of the tracks.
Oh, thank God.
Good.
After the 2 spinal fractures occurred in the USA. In W Series and I think it was a Formula 4 race.
Nasty.
Yeah, and they're trying to basically just get rid of them. It's the GPDA, Russell and Vettel, I think it is, campaigning to get them removed.
Oh, good idea.
Good.
Well, they've got the new rule next year, haven't they, with track limits being the white line or something. So there shouldn't. Is there a need for sausage curbs with that, if that is enforced correctly?
Exactly.
Yeah. Because they came into the 4 again a couple of weeks ago because there was a European Formula 4 free race.
Right.
Yes.
Some of that at Monza where the 2 Prima cars missed the second chicane together, trying side by side. Both of them missed it. One of them flew over a sausage curb and they both ended up in the water.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So
no, I didn't see it, but I saw the article about it.
Yeah, I mean, sausage curbs should be nowhere near single seaters.
No.
And you can't build the track just for Tory cars.
No, exactly.
You're going to have some single seaters there regardless. So.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was Vettel or Russell, but one of them said, and it's a good quote, I'd rather have a track limits debate than someone smashing off into a wall or breaking bones.
Can I argue with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because was it Abby Eaton that broke or ended up with fracture?
I think it was.
It was,
Austin?
yeah.
Which, yeah, if we can avoid that, it's probably best.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly.
Anything for you?
No, that's it. That's it. I'm glad we talked about Tarquini, so I'm happy.
Yeah. So, Brazil next week. We've got 3 in a row, I think.
Oh, wow. We need to carve some time out to do some podcast recording.
Yeah.
You're going to be busy
3 in a
editing,
row.
Colin.
Oh, yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
Get those stings ready.
I need to learn how to make them first. See, we'll be back next week for the Brazilian Grand Prix, where I think probably Max will have all but wrapped up by then. But we'll see you then.
Yeah.
Practice your Portuguese.
Yeah.
Obrigado.
I actually had a few phrases written down for this, and I put them in Google Translate, and they came up as Portuguese and not Spanish. I was like, oh, thank God I checked that.
Preparation for next week.
Yeah. So we'll get with Samba de Amigo and all that next week.
But
Nice.
I just have a quick message. If you've found this podcast somehow, magically,
Well done.
yes, congratulations. And if you've listened to the end, wow, even better. Bonus points. Please do follow on Spotify or subscribe on Apple Podcasts. It's free and it, I don't know, helps the podcast get to a wider audience. Apparently, allegedly. Who clicked something then? I heard something. Was that me?
No, it's me.
Oh, God. Ruined the end there.
Professionalism as always. So this is quality you can get every week if
Yep.
you subscribe.
God, I was doing the big pitch and then I messed it up.
Yeah. So see you next week.
See you then.
See you later.
What's goodbye in Portuguese? I should have said that. But I didn't.